The Councilman P.G. Sittenfeld has introduced an initiative called the Restoring Our Communities Initiative. What does that mean? The councilman is here to explain, and you introduced it yesterday.
We did, yes.
In a nutshell, what does it mean to folks living all over in the 52 communities in Cincinnati?
I will give you the sort of haiku, because
Okay.
there's a lot happening in the Restoring Our Communities initiative, which we're calling Rocky, actually, but it's going to empower citizens to be able to better take care of their own neighborhoods. It's going to keep kids safer, and it's going to hold banks accountable. So one thing we'll actually be voting on in council in about 1 hour here, it is currently citizens, if you go on the lawn of your next door neighbor, let's say it's an abandoned property, it's blighted, it's hurting your property values, you could be charged with trespassing for going and picking up litter for mowing the grass. So I've introduced a council resolution which is mirrored by legislation at the state level so that that's not the case. We have so many citizens across our neighborhoods who are saying, I will help do what, the owner of this property isn't doing.
Yeah, I'll mow the yard so it doesn't look horrible.
Exactly. Part two, the city's going to be spending 10 times the amount of money on demolition this year than it normally does. It's critical that we get this right. The other piece of my legislation is that it will target areas of dense family populations and school zones. The basic logic is it's one thing for something to be an eyesore. It's another thing for it to be an eyesore
about a blighted property.
and a hazard to children, potentially. And then the third piece is a vacant foreclosed property legislation so that banks are responsible for mowing the grass, securing their windows, just like any other citizen. Our attitude has sort of been too big to fail should not mean too big to mow the lawn. So together, I think this is going to do a lot toward chipping away at blight in too many Cincinnati
because
neighborhoods.
that's the thing. You're talking a lot about blight. It's important to not have blight in the community.
It hurts property values. They can become sources of crime in neighborhoods. It weighs the whole thing down. Cincinnati is trying to regain its vibrancy, and obviously, the less blight we have, the better.
But what is it going to cost us to do this?
These are all legislative changes. So think about the first thing, letting citizens not be liable for trespassing if they go on their neighbor's property. Huge legislative change. This is going to tap a lot of volunteer manpower and capacity in neighborhoods across Cincinnati. Doesn't cost a thing. The vacant foreclosed property registry, where banks for vacant properties that have undergone foreclosure, they're in this registry. They actually are paying us. So Wells Fargo and Bank of America.
So you're saying this is not going to cost the city?
No, this is not going to cost a dime.
Okay, so
we don't have a lot of dimes to go around.
This is what I was worried about. We're out of time, but this goes where next?
Into action.
In an hour.
Into action. Oh, yeah, we'll be voting on some of this today in council. So.
All right, let us know what happens.
We will. We'll keep you posted. Thanks, Tanya.
We're going to be right back after this.